Hello and welcome. You're watching the Nordic Takedown. We're a weekly podcast with episodes dropping every Thursday. We're at episode 101, still going strong, closing in on 2 years every week, dropping episodes. So this is just us rolling by, but we do have a really cool guest on today. But first, before that, my co-host tonight, Jonah. Welcome back.
Thanks. Good to be back, even though I was on pretty soon, but pleasure
Yeah.
regardless.
Always great to have you. And with us today, we do have a special guest, Thies. You did really get good at the Paris Showdown this past weekend, and that's why we invited you. But we kind of wanted to have you on either way because you run the store Two Moons and you have the competitive team, Two Moons competitive team, and you guys have been like on a roll lately in the big tournaments in Europe. So we really wanted to talk to you, and also, of course, Jonah and you. You guys go back a bit. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
first of all, really happy to be here. Um, I think Jonah and we played a match against each other on Take the Initiative. And then, funny enough, we were like in Essen at the biggest board game convention in the world, at a Star Wars event, actually, Star Wars Unlimited.
Yeah.
I was here as a retailer for my store Two Moons, and Jonah, I think you were there for the podcast, right?
Yeah. I was representing the Nordic Takedown. That was really cool.
Yeah, and then we sat at the same table, and I was like, "Hey, did we play each other before?"
Yeah.
That was very funny. That was an accident, but a very happy one.
Yeah. It was really fun. We had great banter even before we kind of realized that we had somehow met before. Like we were just joking around. It was Edu also, also co-owner of the store. And a friend of mine, which I had just snuck in. Shh, don't tell anyone. So we were just having a lot of jokes and getting to see Jar Jar Binks being spoiled on the big
Oh
screen.
yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Still
So
looking,
from there,
to play more of the new Charger Binks. I unfortunately haven't played him so far in any of my decks. But
Yeah.
I'm really happy that there's finally like a good Charger Binks.
Yeah,
unit.
nice.
So,
You're already making Adam happy.
yeah.
so from there on, you invited Jonah to join you for some of your events at the store, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
hosted
that was
some PQs, and I think you casted one of them. Is that right?
that was really funny because at that table, Edu and Thies told me that they had asked Thork to cast their first Two Moons PQ. And I was like, I know Thork, you should let me co-cast. And they were like, I was just saying it as kind of a bold, almost a joke. And they were like, not a bad idea. And then we just went from there.
So that's how it came about that the Nordic Takedown came into working with you guys a little bit already a year ago now, more than a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And now, finally, we get you on the podcast because of your great performance in Paris. So that is our main topic for today. We usually do a little bit of a cantina catch up here where we talk about what we've been doing this weekend, but that is our main topic, kind of. Me and Jonah, we didn't do all that much this past weekend, I don't think. I went to a store showdown that went absolutely miserable. Don't have to dwell into that. And Jonah, did you do anything?
I actually had a lot of fun starting to deck build a little bit. And you
yeah.
know about that, Victor, because this weekend we made the first 2 episodes of the Jabba's Den, a new YouTube idea we had. So we just released episode 1. So if you haven't seen, check it out. It's kind of a play on Dragon's Den or Shark Tank, where one of us will be pitching an idea for a deck without having tested it or played it at all. Just kind of in a casual, funny tone, show off a deck idea.
For sure. We did do that. That was quite fun. And the first episode is already out. And When this episode airs, we're going to be close to releasing Jabba's Den Part 2, and maybe there'll be more later on.
Yes.
So for sure that. Also, I want to remind every listener that our giveaway from episode 100 is still open. So if you check out episode 100, you can still get into the giveaway that we have there, and we will have a drawing for that in a week or so. But let's not dilly-dally anymore. Let's talk about Paris. This is one of the major events in Europe this spring or winter, or what you want to call this part of the year. At least here it's definitely winter. I've got a very cold weather outside. And so, Thies, tell us a little bit about your run in Paris. What did you initially open for a sealed pool, and how did it go for you?
Well, I didn't really expect too much. I was like, I just bought the ticket a few days before the event because I didn't get one initially, and I thought about going, and then I just was like at work refreshing the page like each day just once to see maybe I get lucky and get a ticket. And then suddenly, I think on Monday or Tuesday, it was up there, and then I thought like, should I go now? And then I just said, fuck it, I'm going. Bought the ticket, and yeah, I'm really happy that I did because it went really, really well for me. Um, yeah, I opened the leaders because like in sealed it's really important what leaders you opened, and I think I had like all the best leaders. I was able to choose from Leia, Jabba, Sabe, Yularen, and Slimore, and Mon Mothma. So I think I like
Nice.
really covered all the good
Yeah.
ones. Um, I mean, after seeing my pool, I had zero villainy blue. So I think Jabba was not an option anymore. But otherwise, I had a great diversity of cards. I think I could have built different decks, but in the end, I mean, Leia is just really powerful. Um, I like her play style. Like, I, I personally, I prefer play style where I play more of a board control deck. Um, I started this when playing Cat Bane all the time, which is like kind of an aggro deck, but a different kind because you just more control your opponent's board instead
Yeah.
of just going face. And I think that just stuck with me, and this is kind of my playstyle. So I prefer Leia because you can adjust your units' attack and stats so that you can just barely kill the enemy units without dying themselves, and I think that's what I was going for. I have opened a copy of The Mandalorian,
Ooh.
which is not a great constructed card, but in limited, it's actually really good. You play it for 8, you ambush something, capture something else, and it has
Yeah.
a lot of health, so it just stays there and is a threat and can even capture more units um, every turn. So um, I was happy
That
to do
sounds
that.
great.
I also had a lot of turn one plays, which I personally also like. Um, honestly, below 8 turn one plays, I don't feel comfortable. In the end, I had 9 in my deck. 9, I think 7 to 8 good ones and 1 to 2 mediocre ones. But I just like to have that because then I don't feel the need to keep a hand just because I have a turn one play. But I can
Yeah.
actually go for a mulligan if I don't have a good hand against what my opponent wants to be doing, and can still be certain that I'm most likely going to have a turn one play anyway. I
Yeah.
think
Be a little bit more greedy,
I ended
right?
up missing one turn one play in the entire day one. So um, yeah, and funny enough, I've even won this game, and it was it was at 7-0 in game three. So crazy
Damn.
that I won that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
please go.
Mandalorian. That means you got yellow, right? A lot of good one drops there with the Skyhoppers and
Yeah.
for Leia.
Yeah, I had
Did,
a lot of different things. I also had like the Chikataro Visago, the 3/4 that draws cards, which I really like. And importantly, yellow is the color of Beguile. And
yeah.
which is like the most important card in the set. And while I didn't open it in sealed, your opponents just play around it. I actually played against a game against the Jabba, which said he had emergency powers the whole game and was afraid to play it. And in the end, he ended up playing it for 2 resources to give 1 experience to a unit, which was actually good at the moment. But if like a card like emergency power just stays in the opponent's hand because he's afraid, then it has done his job. So even though I didn't open the Big Isle, you still had to play around it.
Yeah, I'd say Beguile and Emergency Powers are probably the two most influenced, like Seal are most influenced by those two cards because you have to sort of be aware of those two cards. Yeah. Now, what did day one look like for you? What kind of matchups did you see, and how did you feel playing your deck?
I played a lot of Eula Rens. I played against 4 Eula Rens in day 1, which was 9 rounds, by the way, which was plenty because you also had the deck building phase before. So I think it went till like 9, 10-ish in the evening. So it was quite a lot, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. And 4 Eula Rens, 2 Leias, 2 Javas, and 1 Slimore were the decks I was facing. So it's you face a lot of the meta decks and meta leaders, especially when you start piling up wins. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to see what my neighbors were doing because they had, I think, I'm not sure if it was the first time, but they had this VIP package where you were able to be at 1 seat and stay in 1 seat.
Yeah.
So a lot of the top tables were actually like reserved for the VIP players. So Melee would just swap you with the point where the other player was playing. So I was just randomly playing at table 90, 150. So I was like, me and my opponent were like 6-0, and the opponents next to us were like 3-3. So it was kind of it was kind of hard to see what the meta was like because I couldn't see what the other top players were playing. But just from my opponents, yeah, a lot of Eula Rens, a lot of Leias. I also played 2 Jabbas but only later on, because I think Jabba is really powerful when it comes together, but it's hard to get everything together in sealed. And Leia is just very flexible. Eula Ren is very flexible. You can play it with almost every card you open. So I think that what's in sealed, at least what the meta looks like.
Yeah,
absolutely. Your record for the first day, did you just go, what was it, 5-0 first, right?
I went 8-0. I was like, at one point I was the only 8-0 player, and then on the last round I played Fabiano, the guy who went 2nd place. I also lost to him in the semifinals, so he beat me twice in the same tournament. Yeah, I played the Leia, and it was the first match I lost. And yeah,
nice.
That was kind of my day 1 experience. He also played Leia.
Great.
You went 8-0 first, and then you lost your last game the last day, kind of King of Swiss game. Yeah. How many people came from your? Because you have a competitive team, the Two Moons competitive team. How many of you guys went to Paris?
Actually, only 2 players, only me and Dominic. Dominic is the guy who won 2 out of 3 PQs we hosted at Two Moons. So I think us two, we are also the 2 players who draft the most. So it made sense for us to come. The other guys, like a lot of them were on vacation, and 1 or 2 of the other guys just are not really big into limited. So I think if they want to travel, they want to travel for Premier, or like Constructed in general. Maybe also for Eternal then for the next set, but we'll see that then.
Did Dominic
It
also?
was only me and Dominic. Dominic also had a good run. really funny story about him. On Friday, we were talking about what we wanted to play, and he was like, I just don't want to play Dedra because I never played her. I don't know how to play her. And then he played Dedra.
Of course.
um, and he was like,
Obviously.
he was somehow stumbling through, and went 7-2 and also made day two.
Mm.
Nice.
So he had a great one as well. In the end, I think he finished 12th, so missed
What?
top 8 by a split second.
That's
Yeah.
really good.
I'm not sure if I should tell this, but he played like the game he lost on day 2. He actually conceded it to his opponent because he was playing Beguile out of Aspect.
Mhm.
Ended up playing it for free without having 5 resources. Um, his opponent showed him his hand already, but then he saw it and said like, "Oh wait, I don't have the resources to play it because I play it out of Aspect." Then they called
Mm.
the judge, and the judge actually said that because it was his first mistake, nothing was about to happen, and then he just like gained an advantage for like doing something illegal himself,
Mm.
which he felt like he wouldn't be comfortable winning like this.
Yeah.
So even though he won the game, he actually conceded it,
Mm.
and that was like the one win that made him miss top 8, which made me
Oh.
really sad for him. But I mean,
Yeah.
he just has a moral compass like
Yeah.
no one I know. So uh,
Yeah.
it's crazy. But I think when you will see him in top 8 for sure because he's that great of a player.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. We'll see him
if
again.
he wants to do it, he wants to do it
Yeah.
perfectly right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It
yeah,
was. I was almost going to say it's funny that you told this story because when you said he did well, I was about to say, yeah, it's not only a great player, but a really great guy. Because when I was in Zurich, the second time we casted Thork and I for 2 Moons, we attended physically. And then we got to meet the community and we met Dominic. And there were also some rules problems there. And he was like really, really cool about it and cared for everything was going to go well. So it was clear that he he feels really bad whenever something is on him. That he's like, okay, my fault, you win or whatever. Like, so that's really cool of him.
yeah,
I mean, this is kind of uh, it's great to hear about a cool guy like this, but it's not that rare in this community. Like you meet this kind of people that have this integrity and like just want to make sure that everyone has a good time, that it feels good for everyone else, and there's so much care uh, about the community from the players that it's honestly not that surprising to hear this kind of story. It's just super cool to be part of this on a like a top performing competitive team in one of the largest events in Europe right now. You have a player behaving like this. That's just amazing. That speaks of volumes to this game, like what this game is like. Um, yeah. So this is your day one then. You won everything except for one game against Fabiano, and yeah, he was on a tear through this
oh,
tournament. That guy.
Fabiano, what a
Yeah,
crazy guy, man.
yeah.
He's playing so well.
Mhm.
Um, I think he might be from what I experienced, he's like my nemesis opponent. Like he first of all his play style. Um, I was talking about players playing around Beguile. Well, not him.
Yeah,
He had in the game I lost in the first game. He had his 4-3 in space, which was like an 11 attack unit in the end because he played like 3 or 4 upgrades on him.
yeah,
And I mean, you saw his deck on stream, right? He also played
yeah.
like 3 diplomatic immunities in the top 8 deck and the +1/+1 that when on attack he can deal 2 damage. So I think that's kind of his play style and he can execute it extremely well.
I
Yeah.
mean, the games I watched him play, it's a pleasure to watch it. You were on stream as well, but only in top 8, right?
Yeah, only in the semifinals. I
Yeah.
dodged it every every time before. Um, yeah, the first time
Yeah.
on stream.
Yeah, I was rooting through you through watching the for you through watching the standings, and I saw that you were up there all the time, and it was really cool to follow along like that. So that's day one, and then you go on to day two, and that is not a sealed pool anymore. Now you're drafting, right?
Exactly. I think the reason they wanted us to do nine rounds of sealed in day one is that day two you could do a draft and play
Hmm.
3 rounds in the same pod.
Oh
So what
yeah,
they
so you
actually
did
did
that.
is like I think I asked the judges and they said they didn't know it 100%, but I think it was player 1 to 8 were pod 1, 9 to 16 were pod 2, and so on. So
Oh
actually, it was really tough because I felt like I was sitting there, and we are drafting, and like the some of the best players are around me, and it's like, oh, now I have to win 2 games against Beton was in my at my table,
yeah.
and Fabiano, which I knew from day
Hmm.
one, and also some other opponents from day one I knew that were really good, and I was like, this is gonna be a hell of a draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But did you only play opponents in that pod then for
Yes, I played
for the
them
Swiss
for
rounds?
3 rounds. Yes,
Oh
so
really?
you only
Interesting.
played you played them like it was strange because it wasn't like cross pairings or anything
Yeah.
because
Mm.
the it would still um it would match you depending on your points,
Oh,
but
so
it would
it kind
match
of
you
matched to
only
Swiss.
against people in your pod.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, yeah, yeah. But still Swiss pairings.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
that's very interesting, but it makes sense.
I
Um,
Yeah.
guess.
it's just I think like when I played against Beton, he told me that he asked the judge before and he got the information that he would play cross pairings and he was unhappy about that because I think he was building his deck to counter his opponent, um, and he then wasn't able to. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's the first time they're doing it like this, so I'm sure not everyone knew, and I hope they will like continue doing it the same way because then everyone knows exactly
Yeah, yeah,
what's
exactly.
going on.
You can
Yeah.
know what to expect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, it's no worse than any other system, so why not? So how did it feel? What did you build the second day?
First of all, I think it was the most interesting draft I ever played because there
Yeah.
was not a single Leia in the pool.
Oh, damn.
So we were all sitting there, and Beton goes like, "Oh, no Leia," and we were all like, "True, there's no Leia here."
Yeah.
So I had a choice of Mon Mothma, Yula Ren, and Jabba for
Mm,
my pick one, and my in the evening I said like I'm gonna build Jabba if I have the opportunity to do so, and I just said I don't want to play Mon Mothma because
no.
I end up playing Mon Mothma a lot because like she's kind of sneaky.
Mm,
You can get cards because other players don't take them,
Yeah.
um, and
Really
then
flexible.
because there was no Leia in the pool, I was like, Mon Mothma is like the best heroism leader, so I'm gonna take Mon Mothma, and I got crazy deck. I got 4 Bales, um, the 2/4 turn one
mhm,
play, one
mhm.
Mina Bonteri. I didn't even end up playing all 4 Bales because I feel like maybe 4 unique units is too much. So
Yeah.
I had an insane deck. I had a Light Maker, I had an Obi-Wan, I so I ended up playing Mon Mothma with yellow, but I
Mhm.
also in the sideboard had like the 6/6 Sentinel in blue, Hyperspace Disaster, and Bo-Katan. So I
Mhm.
felt like if my opponent was too grindy, I can just side it out and go blue and have like the Bo-Katan as even more top end. Yeah,
Yeah. So this is for the 3 rounds of Swiss that you played day two.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
for the 3 rounds of Swiss.
And how did
There,
it feel, and what did you play against?
it I was so happy with my deck. It was like I'm gonna open the deck right now. It was
Mm,
like the curve I want. Like,
mm,
I think I have my 9 2 drops. I have my like 8 3 drops. So I will now it's like 7. So I always have the curve I want to. I had like 2 populist champions, which are great. I
yeah.
had 2 Cicatro Visago, which are
Hmm.
amazing. I had
Yeah.
like the turn ones were great as well because I like the 4 Bales and the 2 4 Mina Bonteri.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I had
Mina
2 times on
Bontaris.
3 the 2 4 that when played
Mm,
gives 1 attack and saboteur to a unit.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is a great combo with the 2 4 opening because
Yeah.
a lot of players will go Imperial Dark Trooper or Warrior. This is
Yeah.
like the 3 fears for free, for 2.
Hmm.
So actually being able to give 1 attack and then kill something is
Yeah.
just so good because then suddenly you're ahead on board, and that's what ended up happening against Beton. Who had the Imperial Dark Trooper opening, and I was just able to value trade turn 2, which is such a great feeling. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also He played Yula Ren um,
Hmm.
and emergency powers. I lost game 1 completely, so I was like, "Fuck! I'm playing Beton. I'm losing game 1. What the fuck? I had no chance." Um, but somehow I was able to fight through it. I think Beton didn't have the best of all draws, um, but I also felt like, because there were like at least 5 people drafting Villainy, it was normal that the early game wouldn't be as consistent,
Yeah.
which I also saw against the second Euler I faced, who opened with a 3-2, and I had the 2 4s. So
Yeah.
the game was almost already lost on turn 1 in both
Yeah.
games. And
Yeah.
then he had like, I think in one games he had to follow up with a 1-4 on turn 3, on the
Mm,
3 resource turn. So um, when I play like 3-5, 2-4, 3-5, go with the
yeah.
normal curve, it becomes really hard because Villainy doesn't have too many good turn 1 plays, especially if so many people go for it.
Yeah.
The quality becomes much worse.
I mean, this is really where limited is so different from constructed, that you actually see the table, you see the leaders that are the possibilities everyone have when you pick your first leader draft, and
Mm-hmm.
then you kind of can see what's going to probably trickle down to you. And you made a great call there. Even though you had planned to go for Jabba, you just made a split decision and went for the thing that would open up the draft for you.
Yeah, I was really thinking maybe I'll kill myself for this afterwards because I said I didn't want to do it and then I did it even though I had Jabba, but in
Yeah.
hindsight I was
But
really happy with it because I ended
Mothma,
up with a great deck, and even though I lost to a Jabba who had an amazing deck, um that was like I think Clement is his name. He also made top 8 and built a Jabba deck there again.
nice.
Um, I lost against him, but then was able to win against the Eulerens. So in the end, I think my deck paid off.
Yeah, I
So
think
really
Mothma is
happy
a really
for that.
solid pick for drafts also, because even though you were playing green and yellow, right? You had 2 Chandrillan sponsors and 2 populist champions, like
Yeah,
such
that's
great cards that you can play out of aspect because of Mothma.
yeah,
So that was really
really
cool.
fun.
But also, I was really impressed by the spice no one ever knew. A
Yeah.
2 cost event for each friendly official unit, exhaust an enemy unit. Did you get to play it?
Um, Actually, I boarded it out every game, I think,
Okay.
because somehow I felt like my opponents. It, I think I maybe would have kept it against like an aggressive Leia or something, but I played against Lorenz, and the problem about Lorenz is that
yeah.
they always have the initiative, like most of the
Yeah.
time, and like on turn 5 or 6, when you want to exhaust many of the units and go and swing, it wouldn't do much. So I
No,
think
yeah.
Yeah.
I ended up boarding attack with the unit, and the defender gets -4, -0 until
Yeah.
this attack. I boarded this in all the time because all the Yulorens and also the Jabba I was playing, they were all playing Sentinels, like the 5-5 for 5 and the 5-7 for 6, the big green Sentinels.
Yeah.
And like the trade patterns were always the same, so I needed this to get like a good value trade in for 2. It's
Yeah.
like a bad shoot first, but it's still okay when you need it to do its thing.
Yeah. So on day 2, you open up by going 2-1, right?
Yeah.
And that made top cut.
That made top cut, yeah, with 10-2. I made it
Yeah.
in.
So, what was your thoughts going into that draft, and how did the actual drafting play out for the top 8 draft?
I mean, I was kind of sad because I had such a good deck. Even though I lost a match, I was really confident in the deck. And
Yeah.
so also like the quality of players, while it was really high already, in the like top 8 after day 1,
Yeah.
it was even bigger at the top 8 in the end. Because they're also like the good draft players were on top, because they like the guys who finished 7-2, they needed 3 wins to get in. So you played like, I think it was like 4 players from our pot, and then I think there were in total 6 pots.
Mm-hmm.
So there were, or so from 5 other pots, one guy didn't make it in who went 3-0 in his pot, the 9th place, and like
Yeah.
all other 4s who went 3-0. So you just had like all these guys who just won a draft pot in
Yeah.
the same draft. So I knew it was gonna be tough. And
Right.
yeah, then I opened my leaders and it got a lot worse. I think
Oh.
yeah, I had the worst leader selection. But I know how to play Mon Mothma because I also played her a lot before. So I was like, I've done it before. I can do it again. Go Mon
Mm-hmm.
Mothma. And yeah, I mean, I got a couple of good cards. Like one situation that still haunts me is like my right player is playing Leia and my left player is playing Jabba. So I mean, it was obvious because you played Leia, you played Jabba. But then in the first booster, I saw the blue cards coming through. I got a 4/5 Sentinel, 4/5 Sentinel, which is like one of the best cards in the set. I got diplomatic immunity, and I was like, man, should I go blue or should I not go blue? It seems really open, and
Mm-hmm.
I think if I had committed on the first 4/5 I saw, because I think it was the best card in the pack there, um, I think I would have ended up with an even better deck. Um, but it's like you see them passing by, and every time you're like, but now it's too late. But now it's too late because
Yeah.
you just see them one by
Sunk
one.
cost.
So
Yeah.
I also like in pick 2, I opened emergency powers. So I think I would have picked it if I was in blue, because with 2 aspect penalties, it's really a good card, but not when you have to play 4 aspect penalty.
No, I mean 5 to just play it. It gets a little bit too late in the game to actually be using.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, for 3 and then whatever you want to get on, it probably works pretty well, right?
Yeah.
And it was also strange because I was not getting the officials you usually get. It's like in both of my drafts, I didn't get a single copy of the 1/4 heroism guy who gained grade 2 for if you have another official, which is like the best turn 1 play you can have in this deck. And somehow I didn't see a singular one of them. So in the end, I was like, I need turn 1 plays, and then in pack 2, I saw like the warriors, and they already picked up a copy of Sudden Ferocity before, so I was like, maybe I should go red, and then I ended up with 3 warriors, and so I had good early game, even though I didn't have good official units. So in the end, I think I had good cards and a good deck with a bad leader because it didn't do anything.
Yeah. So for your first top eight match, we didn't get to see that on stream, but you did really well, I guess, because you managed to get on. Tell us a
Yeah,
little bit about that match.
yeah. That's I think where my first pick comes in. My first pick in the draft was how's it called? Dismantle the Conspiracy.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know it, it's a 6-cost event in green and heroism, which lets you capture any number of units with 7 or less remaining HP. Um,
Yeah.
and my first opponent, he played Yularan Red, and maybe also on that note, we were playing with open pools, so
Mm.
you could see the pool of your opponent. So I knew he had multiple copies of the 5/3 in space, which is like for Yularan Red, it's like the main damage dealer. And
Yeah.
in both games, I was able to play it on 6, capture 2 of his units, and just leave one of my units alive. And he couldn't do anything against it because I knew which removals he had. He had like one 5 damage and one 3 damage in his deck. So I was like, I just keep one unit without damage on it on the ground, and with the rest I do what I want, and then I capture on this unit. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's pretty oppressive. I won the 2 games in like 20 minutes, so
Wow.
I felt really good.
Yeah. But then you ran into Fabiano's Saber deck, and we did get to see that on stream. What can't be told through the camera is how it felt. So give us your perspective on that game.
Well, first I saw he was playing Sabe Blue, and I was like, okay, cool. I think I can do this. I can beat Sabe because I have a sudden ferocity. So if I'm able to flip on my Mon Mothma with the sudden ferocity before he flips his Sabe, he can't flip his Sabe. And I was like, I have such good board control with all the free frees I have. I should be favored in this. But then I saw his pool, and he had 2 Faith in Your Friends, 3 Diplomatic Immunity, and 4 A-Wings. And I started to get scared. And
He had
I
such a
think
swarm.
both of his opening were amazing. I think game 1 he played Faith in Your Friends into Faith in Your Friends A-Wing, which is like 5 units by turn 2, uh,
Wow.
which is obviously great. And in game 2 he opened double A-Wing turn 1 into Populist Champion. It's like also the best opening he could get. And from this point on, it was really close. But I knew it was going to be hard to win because if he has this good a start, um, he had all the upgrades and all the tricks to help him win the race because he was like playing Beguile. He had 2 copies of Bog Down the Right, which can exhaust 2 units. Um, so I knew this is going to be tough. Um, I had my accelerator plans, which gave 3 attack on a unit, and that was kind of my game plan to win the race in game 2, and which I was one of, unfortunately. And he had seen it with his Sabe ability, so he was able to play around it perfectly. Um, yeah, uh,
But that game was really close.
that was really close. The first one wasn't, though.
No, no, not really.
Because he ended up being able to flip his Sabe and put diplomatic immunity on it, and then I wasn't able to kill Sabe anymore. And
Yeah.
with ground control, but not being able to control it because I can't kill his unit is, yeah, it's against my game plan, which was
Yeah.
to kill every unit he has in the first few turns and then attack with like all 6 units 2 times to kill him.
Mm.
Yeah.
Which is like the strategy on this deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So
I don't know what happened in the finals. I saw a bit, and he had the really bad starts, and I was like, man, I think I would have taken him down if he started with a 2/2 in space instead of 2 A-Wings. But
Yeah.
yeah, well, I think it was more of him being unlucky in the finals than him being lucky in the semifinals. So Um, yeah,
I mean, he had such a great run all tournament. Like, you, there's also quite a lot of skill involved when you
yeah,
look at a guy like Fabiano. But then, of course, you always need luck. Like, you always have to be lucky as well. So that was an amazing run. It was so much fun to follow along and see how well you did. Um, let's talk a little bit about the event. Like, how did it feel? Did you get like a proper lunch break? And did the organization feel smooth? There were a ton of judges there. We had our own Matthias as a judge there as well. How did it run?
well, first of all, we're almost able to like start on time, which I think is great for that many people, and also like for the whole sealed deck registration process, which requires a lot of setup, which I think OP and the judges have done a great job to ensure this, because to be able to control if players cheat or not, you had to fill out deck registration forms for other players, um, and check. And there were like judges everywhere, so I think they made a great job to like minimize the possibility for players cheating, at least during deck building. So um, I think they did a great job there. Um, I think also I read a lot of criticism about previous events, and I think some of them included toilets. And I think this one, there was like a big hall, and it had toilets on both ends of the hall. So I never felt like there was a problem with that. Um, there was a food truck outside, um, which I think was enough for lunch, but then they ended up not having any food anymore. And since the tournament went on to go until like 9, 10 in the evening, um,
Oof.
it got kind of hungry. Um, I mean, there wasn't any lunch break because, you know, with so many rounds, you can't afford to do one. So, because I'm a fast player, I was able to eat and have enough breaks during the event. So maybe for other people's it wasn't the same. Um, at least for me it was, but like the last 3 rounds of Swiss I played, I was having a headache because I think I probably didn't drink enough, didn't eat enough, so um,
Yeah.
was not the most comfortable experience. But um, I mean, it's just 9 rounds in one day, um, together with deck registration in the morning, which also took like 1.5 to 2 hours. Um,
Wow.
yeah, that's quite a lot of
Damn.
time that goes by. So, but I
Yeah.
think OP and the judges they did their best with what they were given. Um, especially like during day 2, I felt the presence of the judges was very strong. They were really helpful all the time. They paid attention. Like the, I'm not sure if you have seen this on stream, but during the draft there was like 8 judges standing around us, so
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
had eyes everywhere. Um, so I think I had a great experience. Um, there's this minor details to improve, but I think in general it was nice. I think one thing they changed as well is like that they streamed the top 8 draft,
Yeah.
which was also the reason why it was open pools.
Hmm.
Uh, I really like that they did the stream the draft because that's really nice for the viewers. It was also a nice feeling as a player, um, but playing with open pools is kind of strange and limited because a lot of the cards that are usually very good um, become less good. Like opening a Bo Katan is amazing in sealed and in normal drafts as well. Because the first time a Bo Katan is gonna hit the field, it will be amazing. But
Yeah.
um, when your opponent sees the Bo Katan the second time you're playing it, it's a lot worse because they with Leia they can buff their units so that they're just 1 health above 3. Um,
Hmm.
like a lot of cards become a lot worse if your opponents know. Um,
Yeah.
know that you don't have them, and also uh, if you have them, but there's also the punishment for not having stuff in your deck.
Exactly, like the
So
Beguile.
I was playing, I think the Yularena played, he had 2 times the free one that defeats an upgrade. So I knew I'm just not playing Unveiled Might or Sudden Ferocity against him, which is kind of weird. And also, like, yeah, knowing your opponent has dismantled the conspiracy, which is like a big surprise factor, can
Yeah,
also change the game. So I think it would be nice if they can find a solution to play um, without showing the deck lists, because um, that's a cool thing about limited, because in constructed, even though you don't know the exact deck list of your opponent, you have a pretty good understanding of what's going on. And
yeah,
kind of what requires a lot of skill in limited is that you have to play around so many things, and you can't expect everything. And I think then it becomes similar to constructed again, because you know what you're playing against.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's quite an interesting perspective. I hadn't actually thought about that. So, did you feel that this was the format of doing limited the first day and then actually doing two drafts the second day was a good idea? Like, that's a good, I guess, most players would rather draft all the time, but at least getting to draft twice, was that a good compromise?
I mean, I absolutely love draft. I played Magic the Gathering before. I was drafting a lot on Magic Arena all the time. So me personally, I would prefer to play draft throughout the whole event, but that's not possible for so many people. So I think what they do makes sense, because sealed is already that much more that much harder to do, to organize, than constructed, and draft is like double or triple the
Yeah.
the work. So I think it makes sense to do it like this, even though I personally would prefer it to have more draft in it, but I'm not sure if that's possible.
Yeah.
It,
You, s-
it feels like a fair compromise.
you
Yeah,
said there were six draft pods on day two, so there were 48 players uh, going to
I'm
day
not
two,
sure on the
or
exact numbers, but it could also be in five or six. I'm not sure,
yeah,
but I would think it was something around that. Yeah, so
because
there were not 64 players on day two. There were significantly less.
yeah, because when you talked about the two drafts, kind of drafting into the top eight, also, I felt like it could be fun to have kind of a format where you make day two be exactly 64 players. So you take the top 64 and you have eight pods where the winner of each pod will go into the final. But
I think that is something that would be interesting, but the problem is then you're not really rewarding people who play well on day one,
yes,
because like then people would just go 6-0 and then start IDing all the
yeah,
time for free
exactly.
games, which is, I think, the nice things about having these 12 Swiss rounds is um, being able to like prevent IDs from almost from happening, because I think
Mhm.
only like one player in the end, or two players can
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually ID.
And
So
especially with the initiative in the top eight as well, right? You want the
yeah.
best score you can get.
Oh, that was also something interesting I want to talk about.
yeah.
Normally, in a constructed, player first place would face eighth place and so on, but they said they're not gonna do it because they want to do cross pairings.
Hmm.
But for them to be able to do this, they didn't want people to know who they're sitting next to, because then people could conspire to say, I pick that, you pick that, because when you know which place is sitting where, you can set it up. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that actually makes a lot of sense, because I mean, a lot of players knew each other. I'm not saying people would have done that, but
But it's a risk.
them doing it randomly is not is kind of a solution that works for this. What is unfortunate is for me, I was rank 3 after Swiss,
Yeah.
and I ended up playing against the second place and against the first place. And so even though I was third, I never had the initiative, um, which
Oh,
which was kind of
yeah.
unlucky.
Yeah.
So I think there's advantages and disadvantages that need to be weighed, but
I
in the
mean,
end, I think it's not that big a deal.
if you were to be paired up like you do in constructed, you would have been paired into Sip. I was kind of expecting you to be paired with him.
Yeah.
I mean, that is not a great matchup either way.
Yeah.
The
Okay,
guy
player
is
to
a
dodge.
machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was like, I already beat Beton today. Maybe I can
Yeah.
also beat Sip.
Yeah,
And,
for sure.
I
For sure.
think I would have been way more comfortable into. I mean, I also won the first game against Euler. I think the entire 2 days I didn't lose against Euler. That's maybe like my take is that Euler is really strong, but I feel like he's not the best. Like you can, on average, you'll do pretty well with Euler. He might even be one of the leaders with the highest win rates. But I
Yeah.
think in the end, to be able to win such an event, I'm not sure if you can do that with Euler.
Exactly. I think he makes your deck be able to it rise the floor. Like you will do well against poorly constructed decks or and people drawing bad hands and stuff. You can really take advantage with him.
Mm-hmm.
If your opponent isn't performing perfectly, he will definitely be winning that game because
Yeah.
of the ability. But then if your opponent has a great deck and is playing really well, you can play around him, as well as he doesn't really give you that edge either.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's good, but he's not like giving that certain
Yeah.
extra edge.
That's what I thought. And also maybe kind of interesting to note, I'm not saying that this had any influence, but in the top 8 in the end, 5th to 8th place played Villainy, and the top 4 was Heroism, which was
Interesting.
really funny.
Yeah.
It's almost like the 2 last sets they've printed have been really strong on heroism cards. It's almost
It's canon. It's canon. Have you even watched the movies, dude? Heroism always prevails.
Well, I mean, have you seen the best movie? The Empire Strikes Back? It's kind of a win for the Empire in that one.
That's true.
Well, we have one topic left to cover. I would like to talk a little bit about your store and your competitive team and go a little bit into that as well. So, Two Moons is a store and it's a competitive team. Which came first and how did you start the whole thing?
First,
Oh, this could be an episode of its own.
we, me and 5 of my colleagues, I didn't know many of them before, but somehow we found each other. We had me and one of the other co-owners. We already had a association to which organized Magic tournaments each week, and I was always like, I want to do it as a business one day. And then suddenly my other friend, he met some people, I think at a wedding or at a bachelor's night. I think it was at a bachelor's night. And then suddenly it all came together, and we had a big team of like 6 co-owners, which I think was really important to be able to build such a big store and such a big community in such a short time. So that's how we built our store. We started um, with mainly Magic, but I think at the same time as the store opened, the pre-release of Spark of Rebellion was there, and because we wanted to push the players, we were also playing it, and I think I fell in love with the game because what I absolutely hate about Magic is the mana system, and Star Wars has such a good resource system that I'm not sure I can ever go back to Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's just a strict
Yeah.
improvement.
And then for the competitive team,
Yeah.
we just built it a short time ago because we were playing it, and as a community we went to many events together. So a lot of our community are going to the events and to tournaments, but a few of us are just testing together. So I think that's how we ended up doing a small team inside of the community, um, where we have a lot of good players and we just have a controlled environment where we can do tests and run our ideas, um, which I think is really important because if you're such a big community as we are, it's not possible to have something organized like that with so many people. So it makes sense to have a small subgroup to be able to pursue this. So that's how it came together. Yeah.
For those not in the know, the store is based in Zurich, in Switzerland, right? But the team, are you all in the Zurich area or are you spread out a bit?
I mean, most of us are from Switzerland. Um, Jonah is from Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we,
Actually, I'm half German.
The other Jonah.
Okay, the other
successful
Jonah.
one.
My Padawan, my Padawan.
Jonah Rose, he's the guy who won the sector qualifier in Munich.
In Munich, yeah.
Yeah.
Great Aiden player.
Yeah.
He was at our planetary qualifiers, and he
Yes.
impressed us a lot with his plays. So we thought about, hey, let's invite this guy to some testings, and then in the end, yeah, he became part of our team, even though most of us live in Zurich or around it. I mean, I live in St. Gallen. I think Edu is in somewhere else as well. So we're a bit distributed, but we come together to play often in Zurich, and also we chat online, we share deck ideas, and yeah, we're going like this and try to go together to the Galactics. So
Really cool.
I hope I can see many of you guys there as well, because we with our team will be there and try,
Yeah.
to win
grab
it.
that title. Yeah.
So yeah, not to make this episode run too long, but just from a store owner perspective, how do you feel about SWU, Star Wars Unlimited, as a product or as a community, and how much of your store do you think you can dedicate to such a small game? Do you have to lean more heavily on other games?
um, I think first of all, I can only speak for my experience in Switzerland because our store is here, and Switzerland is kind of special. For those of you who don't know, we're not in the EU. That's why import and stuff is really complicated and more expensive. So we only have our customer base in Switzerland. We don't ship to other countries, and that makes it kind of an island market because you're not a lot affected by offers and also customers from other countries. And in Switzerland, there are a couple of small spook communities distributed around Switzerland, but I think more than half of the players are from Two Moons. So
how many do you usually have at weeklies?
Hmm?
How many do you usually have at weeklies?
It ranges from 8 people to 20 people for the weeklies premiere, and then for the store for the PQs we are between 60 and 70 players.
Nice.
So that's about the range, and
yeah,
I'd say maybe for this 60-70 people that come to the store showdown, to to the planetary qualifier. Maybe half of them are from our locals from our store.
Yeah.
So we have quite an active community, even though not everyone always comes to the weeklies. We
Yeah.
also do drafts on Sundays, so um,
Nice.
we kind of have both and a lot of players there. Yeah, and so for us, in comparison to other games,
Yeah.
For us, we just have to we just buy Star Wars Unlimited enough to feed our own community, because for other games like Pokemon and Magic and One Piece, at the moment the market is crazy. So no matter how much you buy, you can sell everything because there's so many people interested in it.
Yeah.
Which is not the case in Star Wars Unlimited. We just know we have our community. We buy our product for our community, and that's it. So I think I can't say exact percentages, but Star Wars Unlimited is not an important part for the store as
Economically.
well. And I think that's the reason why many stores choose to not run Star Wars Unlimited. Even though in Switzerland most stores run store showdowns, which is really great for the community, because then you can go around and play essentially as many store showdowns you would like, with a travel time of like up to 1 hour. You can reach maybe 10 store showdowns, which is
Wow.
something other
That's a lot.
countries maybe not have.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Switzerland might be a very mountainous country, but like all European countries, you have great trains and it's easy to get around. And it's just like very easy to commute to another city within mainland Europe, basically.
Yeah.
For our American listeners who are used to having to sit in the car for 8 hours to get to the next town. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I think that's really great to hear this perspective. And also, like you said, Switzerland is a little bit of an island due to the EU rulings and stuff. It's just so interesting to hear your perspective on things here. I was so happy to have you on this weekend. This week, and was happy to follow you along this weekend in the tournament.
Yeah, I have to say as well, pleasure to finally have you. I've said this many times before, but when I was at Two Moons, it was like an amazing experience. The community there, I have to say again, is really, really nice. You have to go there if you have the chance, if you're in Europe, in the area. And kudos for making such a great place. That probably means a lot to all the people going there regularly.
Yeah.
Thank you a lot.
Yeah. And with that, I think we're going to kind of sign off. Do you have any closing things that you want to plug or push?
Maybe it's just, as a Star Wars community, we have to, stay together.
Yeah.
We didn't have such an amazing community just by luck.
No.
It's just because we played a lot, we nurtured the community, we offered a lot of stuff, and we always, like, when new people come in, we teach them the game, and like this, you get such an amazing community together. And also because FFG and OPE are just organizing these really cool tournaments where you can go together as a community. I think, which is something that bonds you together even more, going together to these big events. So I want to thank FFG, OPE, and Fanfinity for organizing these cool tournaments in Europe.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward until next time where I can meet you guys there again.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Hope to see you. I did just briefly say hi to you in Munich, but it'll be great to see you next time as well. And with that, we close out this episode. Like to just remind every listener again that we still have the new episode of Jabba's Palace coming out in a few days, and also the giveaway from last week's episode, episode 100. You can still enter that giveaway, and we will draw winners in maybe a week or so. And with that, I bid you all, may the force be with you.
Bye-bye.